So I just did a video about vitamin C and how it regulates the receptor that produces glutamate and how it might be beneficial in dealing with headaches and stress. And then in the video after that, I did one about how vitamin C might be useful in Alzheimer's. And I found another thing that might indicate that vitamin C might be useful for Alzheimer's, as well as reducing the glutamate and protecting the cells from the neurons from uh, glutamate damage. But I also found that vitamin C reduces the beta amyloid deposits in the hippocampus in the brain. And another thing that I found of interest, since two of my grandmothers had Alzheimer's, and I'm migraine prone, so I'm looking at kind of, is there a genetic something where there's a reaction to glutamate that doesn't agree in in my family, perhaps? But the next thing that I just found was that in animal models, they found excess glutamate in people with kidney failure. Well, in animals with kidney failure. Now, whether this is true of human beings or not, I need to do more research. But my mother has kidney failure. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of bad reaction that my family has to glutamate and something that doesn't, where we're lacking what's needed to shield us from the effects of glutamate, and whether that runs in the family, if there's a genetic component. Now, I find this interesting because my mother never got the bad headaches that I tended to get. This was never an issue for her, at least not that. But she has had kidney failure. I believe heart disease runs in my family. And I think it would be interesting to see how high glutamate levels could maybe potentially play into that. But I think there might be a genetic component regarding glutamate, and this kind of has me intrigued. So anyway, who knows what my mother may say about this or that. She might get annoyed with me for commenting on her health condition on a public forum, for all I know. But I do find that that's interesting, and I think I want to do more research regarding our family's reactions to glutamate. And who knows, maybe what I find might be useful in helping somebody else along the way as I do my research. Who knows? And that's what I try to do with people, is I'm wanting to help people as much as I can, because, we say, well, we can't help our genes. Well, yes, no, I think there's something for that. And, like vitamin D could control like over 1,000 genes. So, I'm interested in epigenetics and the study of nutrition and how it affects the genes. And maybe there's certain things that affect the genes and how they, there might be more things that modulate the glutamate reactor. And this is really a toxin. It really has a negative effect on the neurons if you don't take anything to protect them. And I found that vitamin C may be involved in that. So it would be interesting to see what maybe vitamin C could maybe do for my mom. Maybe there's something it could do for my mom's kidneys. Who knows? I know that it's needed for bodily repair. So maybe there's something to this that I don't know. And, what if it could be an easy solution? And that's the toughest thing, is finding a solution that my mom can do, because with kidney failure, she's tired. She's exhausted. She's weak. She's not doing so hot. And she's been on dialysis, and she's mentally and emotionally worn out. So people with kidney failure may need simple solutions. And that's the tricky thing. What's a solution that isn't going to take a whole lot out of the person who's on, dialysis, and they can do it? Because when your health is bad and you're tired and you're exhausted and you're weak, it doesn't take a lot to wear you out. You need an easy solution. And, I believe that it's not just my mother who needs an easy solution. It would be anybody that has kidney failure would need an easier solution, and there's different degrees of how far along people are. And I understand that completely. But I'm looking at that whole glutamate thing because, they said that inflammation is, that one of the problems with the kidneys is basically there's tubes that get blocked because of inflammation. And so they get damaged and they don't work. And so if glutamate is damaging the tubes, and, I'm wondering if there's like neurons in the tubes, maybe there's something more I need to research there. And of course, I'm willing to admit there could always be something more I need to research, because, you know, There's always more to know in this life. Always. You could assume you know a zillion things, and you're going to find out there's one more that you don't know over here, there, and there. Um, but anyway, I find that interesting. So I'm looking at the glutamate theory of kidney failure and whether there's a genetic propensity to problems with glutamate. My son had seizures when he was little, and has had hemiplegic migraines like I get. And we're both on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed with autism, and I was diagnosed with Asperger's. So I would be interested to see if there's a genetic component to a problem with glutamate, and if it's just displaying in different ways throughout my family. Um, anyway, but those might be some signs of a problem with glutamate, then potentially. I'm thinking, if there's an excess of glutamate or somebody has kidney failure, there might be a problem with glutamate. Alzheimer's could be a sign there's too much glutamate. A tendency to migraine headaches like me and my son get. Being on the autism spectrum could be, a sign of that. If you've got a diagnosis of that, if you're constantly stressed out and very anxiety ridden, it could be an excess of glutamate. Um, but yeah, those are some of the those may be some indicators of an excess of glutamate.